Hi, I'm Bob Trask. This is our weekly reset. Those of you who are watching on YouTube, and these are all of these weekly reset talks are on YouTube. I want you to know also that usually we start this weekly reset with a meditation, but my meditations are now online. You can go to right to YouTube and find a weekly meditation. So I'm not going to take up a lot of time in these talks on Sunday morning with a meditation, but we are going to get grounded. So if you'll just close your eyes for a moment and begin breathing in through your nose, just relax. It's okay. It's okay. Whatever's going on, it's okay. You know from your past that it always works out. Always. And whatever's going on right now, don't let it dissuade you or pull you away from your perfectness. It's perfect. You're perfect. You don't need to be fixed. You're exactly who you're supposed to be at this moment in the universe right now. And as you breathe in, we just breathe in pure grace. Grace is space. Breathe in that beautiful grace and let yourself just be. Just be you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, today we're going to be talking about in this month of making our lives happen the way we want to have them happen. We're going to be talking about three elements of growth or of attaining your life goals. Well, they're the same thing, aren't they? Like if you're growing, you're attaining your life goals. See, here's the interesting thing about goals, and the interesting thing about visions is that we are pulled forward into our visions. We're pulled forward because there's a great magnetic energy, spiritual magnetic energy in the universe that constantly pulls us forward. It's like there's a great magnet somewhere, and we have another magnet inside of us. And that magnet inside of us is strongly attracted to that magnet of the universe. And that magnetic attraction, that line of electromagnetic force, is the path of least resistance. So, of all the things that can go on or go wrong or go crazy or go askew in your universe, that path of least resistance is the one that makes life easiest. Last month, we were talking about creating miracles, and one of the avenues of creating miracles was commitment. When you're committed, all sorts of things occur that you never could have foreseen. All kinds of fortuitous incidents come forward to support you only if you're committed to what? To a vision, to a dream. Bloody Mary in South Pacific said, if you ain't got a dream, how are you going to make your dream come true? If you haven't got a dream, how are you going to make your dream come true? See, we're here to follow that. We're here to follow the drinking gourd. We're here to follow that star. That's why we're here. So if you have a dream, if you have a goal, it's because you uniquely, because of who you are, need to be pulled forward along that line. So some great authors in the past, great thinkers in the past, have said that the three levels of that is to one, grow up, then show up, then step up. That makes perfect sense. Except that as I looked at that, I thought that for you, because you've been on this path for a while, And you don't need to first grow up and then show up and then step up. That's not where you are. For you and for me, it's reversed. It's the other way around. You first need to step up and then show up and then grow up. Today, I'm going to explore that with you. And if you'll allow me, the avenue of stepping up, then showing up, then growing up will help you make your dream come true. So stay with me for this half hour so I can show you something that'll change your life and make miracle working easy. I've learned through seminars and counseling with many thousands of people around the planet that most people never reach their goals. They never reach their goals because, number one, they don't set a vision. They don't set a goal. They got this splattered kind of idea of where they're supposed to go, and it's all different kinds of directions. You've got one central powerful magnet inside of you, one energy source inside of it. You don't have a bunch of energy sources. You've got one. And that one energy source has to be directed at something you want to accomplish. If you're in the kitchen and you need to wash dishes and cook breakfast and feed the cat and set the table, you can't do all of that at once. You have to do one at a time. You can go from task to task, but you have to be focused on what am I doing? And with our mind, with our consciousness, we have to be focused on the vision, the dream. And that's when that electromagnetic force comes forward. And that's when providence in the universe begins to alter things around us so that we can flow into that. But most people never reach their goals because they don't know what to do. And they don't take the necessary steps to find out. Necessary steps. They need to step up. The information's out there. It's everywhere. But we can get so pig-headed, so ego-bound, that we won't trust anything but that which we already know. We have to become willing to listen to the voices beyond that little one that keeps us paralyzed with doubt and fear and uncertainty. And it takes a lot of courage to step up, doesn't it? To step out, because it feels unsafe, it feels uncertain. But if we don't change our minds, how can we change our lives? If I have a vision, if I have a goal, I don't already have that goal. There's some things that have to change within me to bring me into focus with that goal. I have to be willing to let those things change, don't I? That's called stepping up. We have to be able to incorporate an optimism that tells us that we can take those risks and still be safe. Noam Chomsky, who's one of the great thinkers of all the ages, says optimism is a strategy for making a better future. Because unless you believe that the future can be better, it's unlikely that you'll ever step up and take responsibility for making it so. He said, if you assume that there's no hope, you can guarantee there'll be no hope. If you assume that there's an instinct for freedom, there are opportunities to change things. There's a chance you'll be able to contribute to making a better world. He said, the choice is yours. So we must dare to do what seems impossible. What seems impossible. We must be willing to open ourselves to new ideas, to someone who might have more knowledge of the uncertain territory we're thinking about traversing. Here's a conversation between you and someone in your life. So what are you going to do? They ask. Well, you say, I'm going to go into outer space. They say, you can't do that. Why not? It's just not possible. Why isn't it possible? Because thousands of reasons. It's just impossible. So you might ask them, do you think it would be possible for a 15-year-old kid to go to the Olympics and beat the best figure skaters in the world and take the Olympic gold medal from them? I don't think that's possible. Tara Lipinski accomplished that impossible feat. Could a man compose the world's most beautiful music, beautiful symphonies, while being stone deaf? Beethoven accomplished that impossible feat. Here's another one. Could a small, dark-skinned man defeat one of the greatest military powers in the world? A small, dark-skinned man defeat one of the greatest military powers in the world without ever firing a shot? Gandhi did that. Gandhi accomplished that impossible feat when he forced Great Britain out of India. Vince Havner said, many people have the right aim in life. They just never get around to pulling the trigger. The vision has to be followed by the venture. It's not enough to stare up the stairs. We have to step up the stairs. Step up. So the first thing each of them did was to step up. They all had the same excuses we do, all of them. But they stepped up anyway, didn't they? They stepped up and they made lasting differences in their lives and in the lives of many thousands of others. I could go on with lists of people. Helen Keller. I could go on and on. Bob Beamon, who the long jump record is usually beat by maybe a quarter of an inch if it's beat at all. He jumped in the Olympics and he went almost 2 feet beyond anything else. He flew. He didn't jump, he flew. No one can believe it afterwards, including himself. It was shocking. It was breathtaking. It was impossible. So the first thing for you and me to do is to stop procrastinating and get into the game of life, to trust that electromagnetic force within you, that vision. Get a vision and dare to step beyond who you are. Let's step up. And then our next move will be to show up. In other words, it's not enough just to step up. We have to have the courage and the perseverance to bring our best selves into the show, the best selves into the challenge of the day. We need to show up with everything we've got. That personality of yours is amazing. Do you dare let it go? Whoa, gee, what if somebody should say something, or what if I look foolish, or what if it doesn't work out? Well, what if it does? The chances you have of being you in the world are so wonderfully great. It's such an amazing opportunity to just show up with everything you've got. Turn on all of your music. Don't just let the violins play or the piano play. Get them all playing. Get the whole works, every bit of you playing. Show up. Be perseverant. Michael Chias said, perseverance doesn't always mean winning and losing. Perseverance means showing up and rising to the occasion and performing. Mary and I listen to a lot of music, and some of the singers we listen to, like Ray Charles, for instance. I got a woman way over town. He's got himself 100% into that. Just incredible music. So let's, for example, if you're going to go to a job interview, or maybe you're going to ask somebody out for a date, or maybe you're not going to ask somebody out for a date, but you'd like to have coffee with somebody because they're a pretty important person and you'd like to have a friendship with them, or you'd like to be able to ask them for some influencers, some favors or something. So what do? You go with your hat in your hand and your head bowed, and you go to the interview and you say, "I'd like a job." Or, gee, I think I could do a good job. And you go to this person and ask them sort of this humble and self-ingratiating way. No, you show up. You have all of your lights turned on, and especially your heart light. Only when we're trusting ourselves to do the impossible can we show up in the world authentically, with our true selves on the line, giving all we have to our dream. Dear Stephen Hawking, you know who he was, that wonderful guy. He's in a wheelchair, he's all crippled up, he can't talk, he's talking through a computer. What a heroic man. He absolutely did the impossible every day of his life. Great physicist, incredible scientist. He said, champions don't show up to get everything they want. They show up to give everything they have. That's showing up. My friend, if you want to do the impossible, half your battle is won when you show up. Half your battle is won when you just show up. Then after stepping up and showing up, then we grow up. Because that's when the true you opens up. And that's what happens when we realize that we've just accomplished the impossible. Oh my God, I just accomplished the impossible. Then that's growing up. Let's make it simple. Let's make it real easy. What if you're baking a cake? And you say, well, I'm reading the recipe here. The recipe says put this much flour, put this much baking powder, put in just a little bit of baking soda, put in 3 eggs, put in some milk, put in this and and in your mind you're going, this is the same old boring recipe. What can I do? What can I feel inside of myself? Trust your intuition. Trust your instinct. What if I put in some this? What if I put in about 4 big tablespoons of peanut butter? What if I did that? Would that make it too heavy? Would it fall? Wonder if we just dare, dare, dare to move beyond the restrictions of what has been and dare to think of what can be. That's what makes you unique and individual as a creator. And then when you've baked that cake and it comes out and you taste it, you go, "Oh, that's pretty good." You've just accomplished the impossible. That didn't exist. That didn't exist before before you stepped up and showed up, and now you grow up. Now you grow into a new self. You have a new beingness. Is it great? Is it vast? I just baked a cake. How hot is that? It's pretty hot, but it isn't life-changing, but it's the first step. Maybe the next step is to write a poem. Maybe the next step is to start your book, to actually start the book that you've always thought you should write. I just came out with my book, Up She Falls, a novel. It's on Amazon. I'm just so thrilled with that. Took me years of work going back over it and back over it and back over it. It wasn't right. It wasn't right. I knew it wasn't right. Something was pulling me forward, pulling me forward. I can tell you, long, anguishing hours of just blotting out and taking things out of there that didn't fit and putting things in and making it work. Making it work. It's my first fiction novel. It's a spiritual novel, and I'm so excited about it. But I just created the impossible. So now I grow up. I grow up. I grow up bigger. I expand. I'm more than I was before. I just stepped outside of my limitations. And I came into myself, to my true self. We don't grow up to a certain level and then stop. Growing up's not a destiny. It's a journey, isn't it? There's so many adults that have stopped growing up. Oh my God. Our world's surrounded with them. They stopped because they gave up on themselves and they let their dreams die. They reached an age where they thought their journey was over. What, 21 years old, you can now go to a bar, or 16 years old, you can now get a driver's license. At 35 years old, you finally got a house and a mortgage and a two-car garage with two cars and 2.1 children. And that's so now I'm grown up. We're not grown up. We're growing up. And if we don't keep moving, then we become like statues in the park with that white stuff on our shoulders. Instead of instead of being unfolding souls that we came here to be, we grow old. We grow old. We're not supposed to grow old. We're not. We're supposed to grow up, not up, or not old, up, not old, up. Old is like this, up is like this. It's expansion at any age. I don't care what your age is. We have to open our minds to new possibilities. When I think I was 39 years old, a friend suggested that I might benefit by attending a personal improvement seminar, one of those many seminars that were going on around then. I laughed at her idea of some dude telling me how to live my life. Get out of here. I got my life together. I'm doing just fine, thank you. I don't need someone telling me how to live my life. But months later, after a series of unforeseen events happened, I found myself sitting in that seminar. I went into it with great skepticism, great skepticism. But it blew my socks off. And my life expanded. It expanded. Just like the first time I put on a mask and looked underwater in the ocean, and I saw a world that I never realized was even there. The world of the ocean, which is vaster than the world on the land. I saw for the first time that enormous world when I put on that mask. And when I went through that seminar, I saw a part of life, a huge, not a small part, a huge part of life that I never guessed even existed. See, my life had been, I had it in control. It was like this. I got it all figured out. And what I found out in that seminar is that there are no limits. There's no walls. There are no walls. There's no limits. You can have whatever the heck you want. Whatever you can dream of, you can accomplish. My life was again forever changed. When we block change because we think we know better, we often block opportunity to grow beyond ourselves, to be alive, to be truly alive. But risking takes courage, doesn't it? It takes courage. E. Cummings said it takes courage to grow up and become who you really are. Are you ready? Are you ready to join me and thousands of others who are stepping up, showing up, and growing up? We're accomplishing the impossible almost every day because we're doing what we came here to do. At one time, it was impossible for a person to fly. It was impossible to go to the moon. It was impossible to speak around the world on a little handheld device. It was impossible. It was impossible to live for 100 years. At one time, that was not even possible. Then we needed to reach outside of ourselves and dream the impossible dream, and to be pulled into that impossible dream, and to trust that even if we fail, failure's not fatal. How many times did Thomas Edison fail in trying to create the electric light? 10,000 times. And he said later that those weren't failures, those are each just steps towards success. We need guides. Excuse me, we need guides to help us move beyond ourselves, to achieve our dreams, to show up with our best talents and traits, and then allow ourselves to grow into joy steadily, steadily, daily, for the rest of our lives, for the rest of your life. Every day, a new challenge, every day, a new adventure, not the same as yesterday, not yesterday lived over again. Today, this day, that we have a chance to step up, then show up, then grow up. Walt Disney said, growing old is mandatory. Growing up is optional. We can choose which of those we want. I made my choice. I hope you'll make yours today. Today. God bless you. Thank you. If this talk has been meaningful to you, or any of the talks that you're seeing on YouTube, or the weekly meditation, which you can find on YouTube, would you please go to my site, bobtrask.com, and leave a donation? Just a, just a few dollars, whatever, will help us keep these weekly resets going. Thank you. Now, those of you who can hang around for half an hour, what we're going to do now is have a conversation and talk about these steps of creating miracles. But if you have to go, I understand. Go with peace and with love, and I'll see you next week.